Explainer. Today, we're taking a look at the architecture and security of the SAP Business Technology Platform, or as we all know it, SAP BTP. If you're in the SAP ecosystem, you already know BTP is the absolute central hub. It's the ultimate mediator, right? It basically tells all your SAP and non-SAP products, hey, if you want to talk to each other, you gotta come through me. It's an incredibly powerful platform that integrates hyperscalers like AWS, Azure, and GCP, and gives us amazing agility. But with all that power and connectivity, a pretty massive question comes up. How do we actually keep the whole thing secure? Well, today we're going to break down exactly how SAP BTP is structured and secured. Let's kick things off with a really brilliant analogy from an SAP community blogger. They wrote, "We always do best to make our home more secure with CCTV, security guards, fire extinguishers, earthquake-resistant buildings," and honestly, they hit the nail on the head, didn't they? We do whatever it takes to secure our physical homes. Well, think of SAP BTP as your digital home. Because your apps on BTP are exposed to the public internet, they absolutely have to meet the highest possible security requirements to keep unauthorized folks out. Essentially, we need to build a multi-layered digital fortress. So to build this digital fortress, we're going to cover 5 key areas. Number 1, the perimeter. 2, the land and provisions. 3, the castle layout. 4, the guards and keys. And 5, the secure tunnels. Let's jump right in. Starting right at the very edge of our territory, we have Section 1, the perimeter, protecting the SAP BTP landscape. Now, the SAP BTP landscape naturally runs in a highly isolated network. Your absolute first line of defense here is the DMZ, or Demilitarized Zone. Basically, this is a subnet that physically or logically separates your trusted local network from completely untrusted networks, specifically the public internet. But, the DMZ doesn't just work on its own. It teams up with robust firewalls that constantly monitor and control your traffic based on some really strict security rules. Plus, to protect your data while it's actually moving around, all user access is locked down with TLS, or Transport Layer Security. That just means any data flying across the internet is heavily encrypted, making it impossible for hackers or eavesdroppers to intercept or read your sensitive information, like passwords. Once our perimeter is locked down, we move inside the fortress walls. Section 2, the land and provisions, entitlements versus quotas. Let's clear up something that notoriously trips up new BTP administrators, the difference between entitlements and quotas. When you get an enterprise account, you're given a specific set of resources. Think of this as your land and your provisions. An entitlement is simply your right to provision and consume a service. It's the yes, you are allowed to use this provision, kind of like a golden key. A quota, on the other hand, is the strict numeric quantity that defines the absolute maximum allowed consumption of that resource. It's the hard limit. So, for example, your entitlement might say you can use cloud memory, but your quota specifically says you only have exactly 200 gigabytes of that memory to actually go around. Nailing down this distinction is absolutely crucial for managing your BTP environment effectively. So how does this all fit together? Let's look at Section 3, the castle layout, structuring your accounts. At the very top of your architecture, you've got the global account. This is the master level, where all your entitlements are initially managed. From there, you can optionally create directories. You can think of directories as specific wings of your castle. They exist purely for better structural grouping, like maybe organizing things by department or region. Finally, everything flows down to the sub-accounts. This is where the real action happens, guys. It's where your applications actually live and where your quotas are actively consumed. Oh, and here's a really cool piece of logic. If you free up a quota at the sub-account level, it immediately flows right back up and becomes available again at the global or directory level. All right, we've got the layout built and resources allocated. Now we need to establish the guards at the gate. Let's move to Section 4, the guards and keys, managing users and roles. To manage exactly who gets access to what, SAP BTP relies on default role collections, which essentially bundles specific permissions together. Up at the top, a global account administrator can create sub-accounts, manage entitlements, and handle users. A global account viewer, though, they only get read-only access to those items. Down at the local level, a sub-account administrator has the power to configure trust, create destinations, and assign roles for that specific sub-account. And you'll notice there's a really strict separation of powers here. For instance, a global account administrator cannot automatically just pop into a sub-account they didn't create themselves unless they're explicitly granted that permission. It's a fantastic way to ensure people only have the access they literally need to do their jobs. So when you actually need to grant someone access in the BTP cockpit, you're going to follow a very specific workflow. Step 1,
navigate to your sub-account. Step 2, head over to the Security tab, and then click Users. Step 3, hit Create. Step 4, enter the user email. And a quick reminder here, users from the SAP ID service are identified by their email address, not some random user ID, which is why this step is so specific. And finally, Step 5, choose your identity provider from the drop-down list. This is where you tell the system if you're using the default SAP ID service or a custom corporate identity provider that you've securely hooked up.
Now, what happens in a true emergency? Say all your admins are suddenly unavailable. Maybe they're all out sick or someone suddenly left the company. You're essentially locked out of your own castle. Well, don't panic because SAP BTP has some safety hatches built in. If you're a global account administrator, you can actually use a special Add Me as Admin button directly on a sub-account to get yourself back in. And in the absolute worst-case scenario where there are 0 global admins around either, you can always rely on creating an SAP support ticket via SAP for Me. It's your ultimate backup plan to get access restored based on your contract.
Okay, we've covered the perimeter, our resources, our layout, and our guards. Now for the final piece, Section 5, the secure tunnels, securing the network connectivity.
Here is the golden rule for safely connecting your fortress to your on-premises systems. Never, ever just punch a hole in your firewall to let the cloud in. Instead, SAP gives us the Cloud Connector. It's a free, lightweight on-premise agent that establishes a highly secure tunnel using what's called a reverse invoke mechanism. What that means in plain English is that the connection is actually initiated from inside your secure network, reaching out to the cloud. Because of this reverse invoke setup, you don't have to open any dangerous inbound ports on your firewall whatsoever. It gives you fine granular access control, supports multiple protocols like RFC and HTTP, and even handles principal propagation so your users aren't stuck logging in twice.
On top of that, whenever you're connecting to external internet services or using that cloud connector, you really should be using BTP destinations. Destinations give you this clean, secure separation between your actual application code and your network configuration. So instead of hard-coding sensitive passwords straight into your apps, which we all know is a terrible idea, use a destination to securely store those credentials and certificates. If a password changes down the road, you just update the destination configuration in the BTP cockpit, and boom, your app keeps running smoothly and securely without you having to touch a single line of code. Which brings us to a pretty critical question to wrap up this explainer. Is your SAP BTP environment a truly fortified castle, or did you accidentally leave the back door wide open? By really understanding and correctly implementing DMZs, separating out your entitlements from your quotas, structuring your sub-accounts logically, enforcing those strict role collections, and, of course, using the Cloud Connector for reverse invoke connectivity, you ensure your enterprise integrations stay incredibly agile, but absolutely secure. I highly encourage you to log into your BTP cockpit today and audit your own fortress against the concepts we just went through. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on the explainer today, and keep learning.